Good morning. It's Monday, May 11th. Hope everybody enjoyed their Mother's Day. I am 1 week into my diet, and so far so good. I think in the last video I talked about adjusting my electrolytes. Whoa, dude, what the fuck? He would not have had room anyway. He would have gotten pancaked by one of 6 different cars if he tried to make it across. Okay, anyway. So I adjusted my electrolytes. Calories are around a little over 2,700 calories. And probably started 201 point something pounds. I was still in the process of like shaking off the bloat from a couple cheat days from my birthday. But anyway, this morning I weighed 198.6, which is the lightest I've been since starting the diet a week ago. So feel good. I actually feel, maybe it's just psychological, but I feel like I look the best combination of full and lean. Like I feel like I look the best that I've ever looked at this body weight. So I got that going for me, hopefully. So feeling good. I can't say that I notice a tremendous difference with eating more potassium. Just a couple coincidences maybe is that my resting heart rate while I'm, when I'm sleeping, like so overnight, tends to get pretty low. I've hit 42 before, and then, it's like 43, 44, 42. But it had never hit 41 before since I've been tracking it with this watch for the past month or whatever. And then since I started taking the potassium, my resting heart rate has dropped down to 41 like 2 or 3 different times. So that's a coincidence maybe. And my blood pressure runs a little high. So my blood pressure is usually it could be like 131 over 81, or as high as 134 over 82 or something like that. And but it's usually never lower than 131. And also coincidentally, it's been down to 130 over 81 couple times, like several times. I usually check it like 2 or 3 times just because it's so easy with the watch on. Is that an effect of the increasing my potassium, or is that just coincidence? Who knows? But it's interesting. So I'm obviously going to keep an eye on that. And then I don't know. I was just going to rant a little bit about, or just talk about how whenever I'm in a diet phase and I'm locked in and I don't want to mess up, and then my wife and I are invited to like something social, like dinner out with another couple, or yesterday went to my in-laws for Mother's Day, I get like an anxiety, like, oh man, I don't want to go. And my in-laws are very cool. Like I know otherwise I would have been able to just bring my own food if I really wanted to and just eat my own thing. However, they're kosher and they keep a kosher home. So I'm not able to bring in outside food. I'm not able to eat with them at their table and eat my own food. So I'm kind of forced in a sense to have to eat what they serve. And so they grilled like ribeyes, and they had a bunch of sides, potatoes and all kinds of things, salad, and then they had a whole spread of dessert. So I I had my mother-in-law text my wife a picture of the package of the steaks that they were going to cook, so I knew how much the weight was, and I calculated how much the ribeye was going to be. Maybe I overestimated it, but man, like it was a bone-in ribeye that was just over 1 pound. It was like 1.14 pounds. So even taking into account the weight of the bone, which is minimal, according to like several sources on the web, including like ChatGPT and Claude, you know, that could be as much as like 1,400 calories. I don't know, when you look at it on the plate, it just doesn't seem like it could be that many calories. When I ran it through Calorie King, it said it was more like, 800 something calories. But Calorie King, the way they define it, they also have in parentheses or whatever, like lean only, and maybe they don't take into account like the fat cap, or I don't know. But I charged myself 1,350 calories. That seemed to be like the average that I could expect that cut of meat to be. Long story short, I stayed within my calories like perfectly. I abstained completely from any dessert. So it was a success. And then I weighed myself this morning. I looked great. I felt great. I weighed the lightest I've been so far on the scale. So I'm happy. So I dodged a bullet. But it's just, God, it's stressful to me, because I would just love to stay in my own little bubble where I can control everything so I'm not tempted. And then I'm going to face the same situation again this coming Wednesday, because we're going out for my wife's birthday. And so she wants to go to the Breakers. There's 2 restaurants in or around the Breakers. She wants to go to the one restaurant in the Breakers because we've never been, have a drink, have a cocktail, take in the scene, because it's the dress code is like cocktail chic, which means essentially I have to wear a suit and a button shirt and look all schnazzy, and she has to wear like a dress. And so we're gonna do that, have a drink, and then probably go to a second place and actually have dinner. So it's another, I'm looking forward to it because it's going to be fun, but at the same time, what's the topic that's most at the forefront of my mind is, how am I going to survive this night and still be under my calories? And it's just it's a weird way to live, but it's just the way it is. So I'm going to have to leave room in my diet that day and build in calories that I could use later in the day. And that may mean just having my pre-workout meal, my post-workout meal, and then not eating again for dinner and leaving myself as many calories as possible, and still having to resist dessert and all these things. So that gives me agita. But after Wednesday, I think I'm in the clear for a good while before I have to worry about anything. But we do have other social engagements coming up, dinners with other couples and things. So but that's down the road, and that's not a celebration like my wife's birthday. My wife's birthday, I can't go out with her and not share a drink with her, or whatever. So I will figure that out. But so far so good. Training is going good. I have slowly increased some of the volume of things, added back in a couple exercises that I had shaved off for a while just to give myself a break. So workouts are just a hair longer than they had been. But yeah, I don't know. Not much more to report than that. Everything's going smoothly. And I anticipate that this upcoming week, maybe I'll kind of dip down into the 197s. I'm really trying to approach this diet with a different mindset. Instead of being so eager to see my scale weight drop, I'm really trying to be focused on changes I could see in my body first and foremost. Thinking of it more, instead of oh man, I'm still 198 point something. I got to get down to I know I'm going to have to get down to 190 to look the way I want to. And this time, the way I'm approaching it is, Look, I know my food is on point. I know my training is on point. The longer I can continue to see changes in my body happening while maintaining my body weight, that's even better. I may not understand the process and why that's happening, but if I could, I know this is not going to happen, but in theory, if I could compete at 198 and have not lost a single pound on the scale, but I am shredded, that's the goal. That's ultimately like what I would love to happen in a perfect world, is recomp the entire time and be the absolute biggest and heaviest I could be when I compete, while also being the leanest. Now, I know that's not going to happen. I know I'm going to have to lose weight, to lose body fat as as the weeks go on. But the mindset should be, not being focused on not losing scale weight as the key performance indicator of whether your diet's working or not. The key performance indicator of whether your diet's working or not is that when you look in the mirror, you look like a lot leaner, regardless of what the scale says. So I'm trying to stay focused on that. Focusing on continuing to make improvements in the gym, continuing to eke out, little improvements here and there, getting a rep here, adding a little weight to the bar here, because that is an indication that you're not losing muscle. And how you look in the mirror at different times of day and different lights, before eating, after eating, if all of those things are lining up, you're making progress, regardless of what the scale says. So that's where I'm keeping my focus. And it is time for me to eat my oatmeal. I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you.